So right now is an opportunity that all of us have, messing up my grammar over here, all of us have to really dive deep into ourselves to get clarity on what is truly important for us, what is it that we are here for, and what is our purpose that we strive to create, and how will we get out stronger on the other side of this quarantine, right? Because right now, a lot of people are binging on the Netflix. They are stuck in the cycle of consumption. They are stuck in the mentality of wait and see what happens after we get out, and then I'll figure my life out. Like right now, it's just chaos. I'm just gonna escape, right? But if you look at this as an opportunity for yourself to improve, to grow, to develop, to get clear on what is truly important for you, then this is an opportunity that you have to really come out stronger on the other side of this whole situation, because we are all in quarantine right now. We are all in a similar predicament, regardless of whether you think coronavirus is a scam or whether you think that it's the end of the world. We are all being affected by this to some extent, no matter where we are on this spaceship we call planet Earth, right? So really, it can be an opportunity or it can be an escape. It can be a window that opens up for you to really see the light of who you really are, of what you are truly here for, or you can continue to engage in the cycle of suppression, of repression, of escape, right? But if you really take this time to go inwards, to meditate, to see clarity, then coming out on the other side, you will be someone totally different, right? And what I've been thinking about is, what is true? What is the truth, right? Because the truth always is. The truth is never not, right? So what is true right now will always be true, because that is capital T truth, right? That is what I'm talking about. So what is actually true right now? That's something that I've been thinking about. And the first thing that comes to mind is right here, right now. Right here, right now is real. We are experiencing this moment right here, right now. And to cultivate a sense of gratitude for that privilege to be here now is such an essential component in actually reaching those higher states of human awareness, because gratitude is really the ultimate emotion. And the more we can cultivate it, the more we can see the gratitude in our lives, to have gratitude for the sun out in the morning that shines on my skin and gives me that vitamin D and boosts my immunity and makes me feel amazing, to feel the grass on my feet that grounds me and gives me that strength and foundation on my feet, to feel the cold water running down my throat and really gives me that hydration and nourishment I need to function optimally, to have access to food that further nourishes my body, to have a warm, comfortable bed at night. It just goes on, and you're really feeling that experience of gratitude, and cultivating that emotion changes every aspect of your life. Because when you can look through the lens of gratitude, then you look through the lens of abundance, and you realize the flow of abundance that is flowing everywhere in this universe, and you are the constant beneficiary of that flow. Okay, right here, right now is real. Now, the second thing that is real, the second thing that is true, is that of change, right? So as much as the present moment is real, the same way the present moment only lasts but a moment, right? The present moment only lasts but a moment, is always changing. No two moments in the universe are exactly the same. We are always in a state of change, right? The universe always moves towards entropy, towards disorder, towards chaos. So what is left for us to do is to constantly exert energy and effort towards fighting that chaos, towards bringing that harmony, towards bringing that order. Because the fundamental nature of the universe, which is the second law of thermodynamics, is entropy, is moving towards disorder, is change. Nothing is ever the same, right? If you ever think that you are the same, you are actually not. You are actually moving in the opposite direction. You're either moving forwards or backwards. There is no staying the same, right? Like Albert Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. The only way to keep balance is to keep moving forward, right? So everything is always changing. And if you are not changing, then you are at the effect of the change. If you're not the cause of the change, then you're at the effect of the change. And the effect of the change, more often than not, is entropy, is disorder, is moving towards chaos, right? So what's left to do is to constantly exert that effort towards improvement, towards growth, towards development, and becoming more. And the more that you become, the more that you are, the more that you are, the more you have yet to become, the more that you become, and on it goes, right? Your potential is constantly a moving target. Like, your potential is unknowable to anyone, to you even. So the more that you are, it's like the more that you can become, right? And constantly just engaging in that growth and the time that we have over at our lives. Okay, now the third thing that is real, that is probably even more real than life, is death, right? If we look at the lives from our common conception, it's like, okay, you have like 100 years, you have like 80 years, whatever it is, but you have all of eternity to be dead, right? So what's more real, life or death? At the end of the day, they are two sides of the same coin. Without death, there is no life. Without life, there is no death, right? So really creating a space for death in your life, especially during the times that we're living in right now, as I've talked about in other videos, there is no getting alive, there is no survival. And when we think that there's survival, then we get trapped at the level of fear. When we get trapped at the level of fear, we begin making irrational and emotional decisions that don't serve anyone, right? So once we can realize that we are all going the same way, that we all came from the same way, and we're going to return to that place after we have our experience over here, the more we can create that space, the more we can bring our awareness, our attention, our energy to what is here right now. Like, I don't want to be scrolling on my phone when I'm spending time with my loved ones. I don't want to be distracted when I'm supposed to be focused, right? Because we are given the privilege, this gift of this life that we have here, to experience all that we can, to experience who we really are. And when we forget about death, when we forget about the fact that this life is a rental, then we tend to engage in behaviors that don't support anyone other than this outside force that has its own agenda moving on to it. Okay, so understand that death is real. It might even be more real than life, and it's not something that is quote unquote bad. There is no good or bad. There is no right or wrong in this universe. Everything is neutral. And once you can expand your awareness, once you can expand your perspective to reach that level of neutrality, then you can basically be above everything and look at everything and experience everything without getting attached too much to the pain and the pleasure. And you can be the same in success and failure, right? That is a fundamental teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. I made an entire different playlist on that. I'll link out to it below. But if you are able to really focus on what you are here for, focus on what action you can take, focus on the work that you're here to do without attaching too much to the outcome. Now, this is something that I deal with myself. Like, every single video that I make, I'm like, am I making this to get certain amount of likes, to get notifications? Am I making this for myself? Am I making it for blank, right? If I'm making it with an attachment to get a result, then I'll have anxiety, then I'll have frustration, I'll be attached to this future. But if I make it knowing that I have a message to share, that this is the work that I'm here to do, that this is my purpose, that this is what I'm supposed to develop, and no matter what happens, this is what I'm going to do every single day, then that anxiety is let go of, and I'm able to function that much more optimally as well, right? A quote that I love from Wes Watson, who actually spent 10 years in prison, and now he's just crushing it in every aspect of his life. He says that the man who takes more pride in the process than the result of that process cannot be stopped. You literally become unstoppable when you are concerned more with the action than the fruit of the action. You can let go of the anxiety. You can keep death in a nice close space to you, always keeping it top of mind. Memento mori, like the Romans talked about, right? Because that is really what then allows you to function with that much more focus, that much more energy, that much more attention to what is real, which is right here, right now. Now, the fourth thing that is real. Now, this is obviously a deep discussion, right? Because this fourth thing has been called by many names over the years, right? Whether you want to call it the universe, whether you want to call it God, whether you want to call it the source. The fact of the matter is, when we look at the quantum physics of all of this, we know that there is an observer effect in the universe. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Well, the prevailing theory right now is that of the Big Bang theory, right? Like, all of the universe was in this small speck, which ended up generating so much heat and then expanding to create the entire universe, which is then in infinite expansion right now, even though it is infinite, right? That's beyond comprehension. But in order for something to exist, there has to be something to observe it into existence. Okay, this is what they found, and this is what is known as the observer effect. This is known as the collapsing of the wave function in quantum physics and quantum dynamics. And basically, they did the double split experiment. Okay, if you haven't heard about this, I'll link out to a video below which explains it more in depth. But basically, what they found is that when they shine a spectrum of photons through a split, right, through a barrier with 2 splits in it. Then they find and they look on the other side of the barrier where those photons actually landed. When they observe the photons, then they observe the fact that these photons are behaving like particles of matter. Okay, but when they don't observe the photons and then they look at where they actually attach to the barrier on the other side, then they behave like a wave function. And this is something that has startled physicists for years. This is something that really connects the world of material science to the world of metaphysical dimensions, right? To the world of the deeper realm of spirituality, or deeper realms of metaphysics, which is beyond rational explanation. That how can a particle of matter behave like matter and then behave like a wave based on whether it's being observed or not? This is known as the observer effect, like I said, and it really explains that life as we know it exists in a wave of endless possibilities until it is observed into existence, right? So in order for something to exist, it has to be observed into existence, which means that in order for the universe to exist, it had to be observed into existence. Now, whether you choose to call it God, whether you choose to call it the source, whether you choose to start a whole conflict over who's right, who's wrong, right? Corporate religion has done this for years. But at the end of the day, realizing that there is a bigger picture at play over here, that we are just a small organism on the surface of the grand scheme of things. But at the same time, it's like the what's the word, man? The ripple on the wave of the ocean, the ripple on the surface of the ocean is a ripple, but at the same time, it's part of the ocean as well, right? I love what Rumi, the great poet, said. He said that you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in the drop. So it's like on one level of perspective, you are just a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things. But on the other level of perspective, you are the observer, you are the one, you are the only one through which consciousness can experience who you are right here, right now. So it's just mind-boggling to even think about where we came from, why we're here, how did we end up over here. And when we can go back to the level of gratitude and cultivate that emotion on a moment-to-moment basis in our lives, then life just becomes magical, life becomes a dream. And when we wake up in that dream, then we can really make some great things happen, not only for us, but for all the lives that we touch as well. Okay, so just a quick message for you over here from my garden. This has been Mo. Hope that you got value from this. Leave a comment below letting me know your situation. What's up with you? How are you dealing with the situation? I'd love to hear from you because we're all in quarantine at the end of the day. And I hope that you are someone that is using this time to grow, to develop, to improve, so that you can come out stronger on the other side. So with that being said, I will see you in the next video.